going? Hey everybody, my name is Adam. I've been wanting to make this video for quite a while. This is about my custom built hunting rifle. And I kind of wanted to go over some of the components that are on this, as well as some of the issues that I ran into with this particular rifle. So this is actually a pre-fit barrel to the action that I had actually assembled in the garage here. And so when I decided to do this, there wasn't a whole lot of information. There wasn't people covering some of the issues that they were running into or some of the things that you need to think about. And so I just wanted to make a quick video. Number one, go over the components of this, and number two, some of the issues that I had ran into. So the first one is the action. So the action is a Aero Precision Soulless action. When I started looking into custom actions, I called my local dealer, started talking to him, and I had mentioned that I was thinking about the Aero Precision, and he said he had one in stock. So I'd gone up there. He cut me a deal. He gave me like 10% off, and so I paid about $650 for it. One of the issues that I ran into it was that it's a heavy action. It comes in at around 36 ounces, which for a hunting rifle, that's kind of heavy in my opinion. I have another custom rifle that the action came in at 26 ounces, and I know that you can get several actions down to 19 ounces. But this is, overall, I do like this action. It is a 60-degree bolt throw, which I like. It's got a thicker, heavier bolt knob, which is easier to handle, especially in kind of that colder climate and everything. You get something larger to hold on to. The barrel, like I said, this is actually a pre-fit barrel, so it is a McGowan barrel out of Montana. And overall, I really like this barrel. I did get it spiral cut, and this one I paid about $650 for. One of the issues that I ran into is that when I put the barrel, or I mated it up to the action, it did not headspace correctly, which was extremely frustrating, especially for the first time. I called McGowan. I told them what was going on. They actually had me send the barreled action into them, and they had headspaced it correctly. Customer service was phenomenal. They were very communicative, kind of explained what they were doing, what some of the issues were at. What the actual issue ended up being is the headspace gauges that I had purchased were out of specifications. They were almost 40 thousandths out of specification, and so they were pretty much useless. Obviously, I'm still here, and I've shot it, and so it did headspace correctly. One of the issues that I ran into with this particular barrel and setup is the fact that this is chambered in a 7mm-08. The overall cartridge length is 2.8 inches. Well, to the lands is only like 2.7, right? So we're quite a bit off the cartridge overall length, and so coming about approximately 50 thousandths off the lands, I'm not getting very much jump out of this, and I have to kind of seat my bullets in kind of far. Overall, it's not that big of a deal because I am getting about 2,750 feet per second out of this rifle. It is only a 19-inch barrel, which that was the other thing that I ran into, is the actual measurement. So I actually wanted a 20-inch barrel, but what I didn't realize is they actually count the threads that go inside the action. That's approximately an inch, and they actually count that. So it's the overall barrel length that you need to consider whenever you're doing a pre-fit. So those are kind of the biggest issues that I ran into as far as this build goes. Like I said, I did want a 20-inch barrel. I am getting pretty good velocities out of this, so I'm not too concerned about it. It is very accurate. Right now I'm shooting Nosler 140 grain ballistic tips out of this, getting 2,700 feet per second, and I'm getting 3/8 groups all day long with it. I was shooting some Hornady CX and SSTs, 139 grains for both of those. I was actually getting like 2,900 feet per second, but unfortunately the groups were atrocious, anywhere up to 3-inch groups. So I ended up going with a slower velocity, but tighter groups. It is sitting in a Stockies stock. This is the M50. Overall, I actually really like this stock. I actually called them up, and they sold me an unfinished version of their stock, which was approximately $330. So I was pretty tickled about that. Like I said, it was unfinished, and so I ended up having to do all the finishing on it. Had to sand it down. There were some imperfections that I sanded out. I had to kind of sand out the barrel channel, which actually wasn't that big of a deal. The carbon fiber is really nice to work with. I just took my Dremel tool and I just took my time. Overall, I think it took me about a half an hour to kind of sand everything down and polish it and to kind of get it, you know, where it would actually, the barreled action would fit inside of the inside the stock. I have a Trigger Tech primary trigger in here. I ended up going with kind of a lower one just because it is a hunting rifle and I didn't need something like the Trigger Tech Diamond that goes down to 0.4 ounces. Overall, I think all my hunting rifles are set at right around 2 to 2.5 pounds, and so I ended up going with the flat trigger. And I think I ended up paying like $140 for Red Hawk Rifles when they were having one of their sales. So I picked that up. This is actually the second scope that I put on this. Originally, I had a US Optics scope on there. It was a 3 to 12 first focal plane and a mill reticle, but the eye box was horrible. I just could not get it to where I could see the full picture, and I was kind of having to lean, and I was struggling. So I ended up picking up this Leopold VX3HD, the 4.5 to 14. Overall, I really like this. I did get it in the Windplex, just so that I had something to reference off of if it was windy or something like that. It is a single rotation, so it only goes up to 15 MOA. Which overall, I didn't care for that, but after thinking about it and doing all my ballistics and everything, this will only go out to 550 yards, which on deer is perfect. I'm still getting about 1,100 foot-pounds of energy out to 550 yards, and then for elk, approximately 350 yards if I wanted to. And so overall, I think this is a fantastic scope. It comes in right around 15 ounces. And I want to say I paid about $500 for the scope, and then it's sitting in some, just some Leopold Rifleman rings, which were like $30 or $40 or something like that. They were pretty inexpensive. I did end up putting a Diligent Defense Enticer S on there. It is their titanium version. I do really like this suppressor. It definitely quiets it down. You can shoot it without hearing protections just fine. I have no issues with it whatsoever. And then some of the accessories, I do have the Spartan Precision bipod mount, sling swivel stud on here, and then it is sitting in the Spartan Precision head and an ASIAC tripod. Overall, I think I want to say that the total build cost was approximately $2,500, and overall, I am pretty impressed with it. It shoots very well, like I was saying earlier. You know, getting 3/8 groups. It's yeah. Overall, I do really like this. And then, the last thing, and like I said, this was a budget build. I get it, the $2,500 really isn't a budget build or a budget rifle or anything like that. But when I was kind of looking at some of the, whether it was a Weatherby or a Browning, Bergara, there was always something about the rifle that I didn't like. Whether it was the barrel was too long or it was too heavy, Which this entire package comes in right around 9 pounds. If I didn't mention that, just over 9 pounds. And so I used this all hunting season last season, and I had no issues carrying it whatsoever. But I did end up finishing this off with just some over-the-counter spray paint. This is nothing fancy. I believe it's Krylon that I got from Ace Hardware, and I just picked out a couple of colors that I liked. This is like a titanium type color, and then like a burnt orange. And I just took some sponge. I ripped it up and just did a slight camo pattern. But overall, I'm pretty impressed with this build, and it shoots. So, thank you guys.